Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video, instead of talking about overrated PSAs like I have in the past, links in the description, I'll be talking about the most underrated PSAs. I actually don't have any particular order with this list, but I'm not going to waste any time, let's just get straight into it.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
Let me say this straight up. This PSA isn't good, but I do think it gets too much hate. It gets across the message pretty well, but the only thing that really ruins it is that terrible CGI looking car at the end. It kind of just distracts you from everything else that just happened before in the PSA and happens after it. Besides that, kind of a solid PSA.
Let me tell you who to blame. Blame the boy lying at your feet, his body oozing life through the hole in his stomach where the bullet tore him apart. Blame him for challenging you, for not looking away and for not backing down when you pulled out the gun. Blame your mother for bringing you into this world when she was but a kid herself and for dragging you up, not bringing you up. Blame society for not giving you hope. Blame your father for not being there, the man who looked after himself instead of looking after you. Blame the gun in your hand for making you a target, for making you more likely to be picked on. Blame the dead boy, blame your mother, blame society, blame your father, blame the gun, blame anyone but yourself for not being strong enough to put down the gun, to break the cycle.
Hey, it's motherfucking Samuel L. Jackson. How can you not like this PSA? But to be honest, with this one, I just don't really hear many people talking about it at all, so that's why I think it's underrated, because who really talks about this one?
Growing up, just wanted to fit in. There wasn't much to do where I lived. On that bridge, we weren't out to cause trouble, we was just messing about. We found a metal cable lying around. Our plan was to catch a train. I grabbed onto the cable, my cousin grabbed onto the other cable, and I said on the count of 3, we'll throw it over. 1, 2, and we threw it. All I knew is that the bottom was electric, nothing about the overhead cables. I always wanted to be a footballer. I went into shock and then into a seizure. My plan for the day was to go to my nan's and then I was going to have a game. It was unbearable. The worst pain you can imagine. Burnt skin, burnt clothes, messing about. I weren't afraid of nothing, so I was going to be mentally confused. There's a tightening in all your muscles, ringing in my ears. I'm afraid of pain. As I come around, the scream was getting louder and I realised what it was my cousin. Electric went through his body and out of his stomach.
Someone please help me! Help! Someone!
I was 13 years old when I got electrocuted. 25,000 volts went through my body. At the time I was a confident person, and now as I grow up it's just knocked me back for 6. But that's life, and I still have to live with it. I wouldn't wish this upon anyone.
This is one that isn't talked about enough as well, but this PSA is better. The imagery is really disturbing and it doesn't shy away from the message of the PSA, and it does well at that. It actually is very realistic and honest with the viewer, and that's what makes it good. It really works well for what it's trying to achieve, and yeah, that's why I think it's underrated, because no one really talks about it. Yes, this is a good PSA. It's the twist that really gets you, but it actually makes sense in the PSA too, and that's why this PSA is good. It really makes sense with the whole PSA and how it portrays anorexic people, and it's just really good in that regard. It's one of those PSAs that are just really simple but effective.
To you, this is a place to make macaroni and cheese. To someone else, it's a way to make a kid sorry for what he did. Preventing child abuse and neglect doesn't just mean reporting it, it means stopping it before it starts. Find out how at preventchildabuse.org or 1-800-CHILDREN. A child is helpless. You are not.
This is another memorable one, but to be honest, it's probably more disturbing. I've talked about this PSA before as it's one in a series of PSAs that basically just have like an object, like an everyday object, like say in this one, a stove or like a bath or something like that. And then the narrator explains it in a disturbing way of how it's used to like harm kids or possibly kill them. So yeah, they really don't shy away from the message at all and the reality of the situation, but that's why they're effective.
Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there?
Hell yeah, this is underrated. By the way, get stickers on my merch store. But I love this PSA because it is really a great metaphor for people that are struggling to talk about their problems to other people. It's done really damn well, but there is one more PSA that does it better. Yeah, this is the one that does it better and it's from the same company. There's nothing really I can add to this one because this is basically the same as the last PSA where all of the positives from that come over to here. But I will add that the distorted guitar noises for her voice was a really nice touch. This is an absolute bop of a PSA. It was trending for a bit, but no one really talks about it as being a PSA. They just stuck onto the trend of like, oh, this is a cool song and whatnot. But as a PSA, it is very underrated.
Page 630.
To be honest, I wouldn't even know that these PSAs exist if it wasn't for the Critics' Choice DVDs that I watched when I was younger. Otherwise, I would have no idea they existed. They're decent PSAs about smoking addiction, but the really big thing that makes it stand out is the presentation. The presentation is really cool and unique.
Chocolate, vanilla, cinnamon, apple, honey, and berry blend, strawberry, wildberry, tangerine, mango, raspberry, wintergreen. That's how you make cancer sweet. Why do you make tobacco taste sweet? Oh, why do they make tobacco taste sweet?
You don't know we die from tobacco. Sometimes you just lose a lung. Oh, you don't always die from tobacco. Sometimes they just snip out your tongue. And you won't sing worth a heck with a big hole in your neck. 'Cause you don't always die from tobacco.
Excuse me! Sorry to bother you, but we've got a question. Do you know how many people tobacco kills every day? I mean, what you saying? 20, 30, 100? You know what? We're gonna leave this here for you so you can see what 1,200 people actually look like. Keep all them up, guys.
I'll be honest here, Eddie Burback made truth underrated. Don't get me wrong, the PSAs in their past decade have been fucking terrible. But, to be honest, a lot of people just look at the past decade of PSAs and go, nah, Truth is a terrible company. When in reality, they've had good PSAs in the past, but people just look at the past 10 years and go off that and just go, yeah, they suck. I will say though, in the past decade, the one series of PSAs I like from Truth is the opioids PSAs. They're actually quite good. But as I said before, they're really overshadowed by their past 10 years of PSAs because they're such bad quality.
Hello?
Hi, Mum.
Andrew? Not like you to call?
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello.
Oh, all right. Look, it's really noisy and hard to hear you. Are you at a party?
Dude, put down, let's go.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Jenny wants to know, are you going to come on Sunday? Remember it's Grandpa's birthday, we would love you to be there.
I don't think I'll be able to.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Are you out with your uni mate? Andrew, you are actually doing some study this year, aren't you? Not just partying all the time?
Yes, Mum.
Are you keeping on top of your studies? Andrew?
Yes, Mum.
I've told you before, first year is important. You really need to knuckle down, mate.
Yes, Mum. Right. Is Dad there?
No, look, it's really hard to hear you, love. He's on his way home. Why?
Oh, no reason.
Andrew, is something wrong?
No, I just wanted to say hi.
What's wrong, love? Talk to me. Andrew?
Water in the car. And I love you, Mum.
And I love you too, honey. Where are you? Andrew, you're really scaring me. Andrew, what's that? I can't hear you, Andrew.
Somebody! Help!
Honestly, one of the best PSAs of all time, and I really hope people start seeing that. It's basically a short film but put into a PSA, and it works amazingly because of that, and not enough people really talk about this PSA because it's so well done. I've praised this PSA a million times, so I'm not really going to keep going on about things I've said before. Let's just go to the next entry. I am surprised that barely anyone knows this PSA. This was one of those PSAs I saw once about a decade ago, and then magically about 2 or 3 years ago it just resurfaced and I found it again. But let me say, it's really good. The twist is completely unexpected, but it makes sense and it really catches your attention in the PSA. It is just well done.
Son, I figured when you were old enough, I'd talk to you about drugs. I'd tell you they're nothing but poison. Tell you to stay away from the garbage that pushes that junk. Only I never figured that I ought to be telling that to a 13-year-old.
If you don't teach your kids to say no to drugs, it's as good as saying yes.
Yeah, a good partnership for a drug-free America PSA. And of course this one isn't talked about much at all. I really don't think many people talk about this PSA, and I do think it is a very solid PSA because it builds up like how the father's talking to their son about drugs and stuff, and then the twist at the end where the son's actually dead is really good.
Every meter is my understanding.
Chris?
Come on, Dad.
Be here in a minute.
Chris, have you had any alcohol drink today?
Just had a couple of beers.
The breast test indicates that your breast contains alcohol. There's one other thing, I'm not sure whether you're aware, the young fella has in fact died. Are you aware of that, were you, Chris?
What's there to say? This PSA is slept on and not enough people talk about it, which is unfortunate. Sure, yes, Mum is a better PSA, but they don't talk about this one much because, you know what? The UK company decided to rip it off and do the same thing years later. And they talk about that one instead. But if you ask me, I would prefer this PSA. It is much better in its execution. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Give it a like, subscribe, comment your thoughts, all that jazz. Anyways, I do hope I can go back to weekly content again. If I don't, I'll be uploading once every 2 weeks. It's the usual time, Friday at 11 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. But sometimes it might take me a bit longer to get videos out. I'm not going to push myself to get a video out once every week because I have a lot of things going on at the moment. Anyways, let's get straight into the shoutouts. Massive thanks to Ash Crimson for supporting my channel license tier. And lastly, massive thanks to Fatima and Victoria Huntley for supporting my Big Boss tier. If you want to find out how you can support my videos, make sure to click the little Patreon logo on screen or click the little join button next to the subscribe button on my YouTube channel where you can join my YouTube memberships or Patreon to support me financially and get videos early and a bunch of other perks. Anyways, I'll catch you on the next one.